New Zealand, Ireland, and Chicago on Virgin Media is 9 days away. We must get into it. Who's your starting fly half and why? It seems to be Jack Crowley now has gone above Sam Prendergast, certainly in the wider public's and the media's and probably the fans' view. But Andy Farrell will not be too interested in what we think, I suspect. Which way do you see him going? He's always picked his right calls, and that's why he's had such a great coaching career so far.
Because of the rivalry and the way this story is played out last year, you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't, because everyone has an online presence now and everyone's entitled to their opinion.
But tens have always been talked about for years.
Yeah, they have.
I know this has probably gone too far.
Nasty at times, and the online stuff and even the abuse that Sam Prendergast has got at times, and maybe Jack Crowley has got some as well. But it's affected both players in a sense of their game. I said this last November, and it's my own opinion that I didn't think it was the right thing to do to push Sam Prendergast in like that. The Irish selectors, they obviously know. I would say they probably know more than me, but just my hunch was
not sure they do, Al. No one knows more than you.
Absolutely not. It was my hunch that it was rushed a little bit, and I know he's an exceptional talent, and I think it affected Jack Crowley a little bit as well. And then you had this online debate the whole time, and then a little bit of nastiness, obviously, and then you have Six Nations. Both of them had an up and down. Sam Prendergast obviously gets player of the match in Scotland, and then Crowley comes in for the Italian match. He probably didn't have his best game. I think the team weren't functioning as well, the Irish team, even though they won 4, didn't they, in the tournament. But I think Jack Crowley has to start now. Well, if you're basing on form, and look, I've always believed that Jack Crowley was an outstanding player. I think
you have always said
a couple of deficiencies in everybody's game, no matter who you are, and I think maybe a little bit of control, some decision making, with Jack has let him down a little bit at times. Staying in the structure and the plan, which you need your fly half to do, you need them to run that, and probably the advantage people talk about and the difference of the two players is maybe Sam Prendergast's hands are slicker and his passing game is better, and maybe some parts of his kicking game he has more distance. But for me, Jack
Crowley looks leaner now and quicker, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think he's from what I've heard, and again, it's not a secret that he didn't really take a pre-season.
Yeah, he worked with an S&C and did
trying to get sharper and fitter and stronger and stuff like that. He looks very lean and looks in great shape, and his biggest, well, not his biggest strength, but Jack Crowley's a very physical 10, and he's very strong. He can run into contact. He can defend very strongly, and that's the point of difference between the two. And I think Crowley was outstanding on Saturday. And again, you'd expect that Sam Prendergast would have more of an armchair ride with the forward pack he had, and that we expect that they'll probably win the game and be dominant. And Crowley was outstanding. I think he was very dominant in a sense of he looked confident. He looked like he was really enjoying it. A lot of intensity there, and they would have been tired after all the defending and stuff, but he looked very, very sharp. The penalty even to in the second half there, that, it sounds innocuous, but just to strike at a penalty on the 10-yard line, it was a difficult enough kick. And he's had...
the wind was pretty strong.
He's had some inconsistencies, but it was just like... It was one of those ones where just look at the player and I just think he looks confident. The strike was superb, and it just summed up his day, maybe. Is he going to have a perfect day every time with the kicking tee? No, but I think... He just had a really, really assured performance. I liked the fact he was very calm and controlled afterwards. He wasn't, I told you so, and not that the player would do that, but I don't
think either of tens would have done that.
And I just think he was very calm, and he was very appreciative of the occasion, the event, and obviously the win, and talking about his players. So he's only 25, Sam Prendergast 22. They're still very young, but on the basis of what we saw at the weekend, and I probably would have been going for for Jack Crowley anyway, because of that physical. We still have a concern about Sam Prendergast's defensive work, and it's unforgiving at that level. And I think you're playing.
Do you think it's getting slightly better or not?
Well, I'm sure he's working on it. It's not that he's running out of the way, and I think it's technically he needs to be better. He's a very tall guy. He's lean, but he's actually, from what we hear, is quite strong. And
Well, to be fair to him, he still takes to the line. You
yeah,
saw
he
it the
does. Yeah,
weekend.
yeah. And but look, Jack Crowley, I think, was superb, and I think that kind of put that thing to bed. And as it going back to the thing last November, I think it kind of hampered. But that's the chance coaches take. You know, if Sam Prendergast had this exceptional run all the way through, which is unlikely for any young player making their international debut, maybe it would have benefited Jack Crowley that he was said, well, I have to get better and better and better. He's had the right reaction, and I think, you know, even I saw him against Saracens last January. He was brilliant down at home park, and that was a time that you could easily drop your head a little bit. You know, post Christmas, he didn't play the Leinster game. So he's, I think he's kind of propelled himself into that starting position.